before I forget,
This meeting is being recorded.
all right, and we will go ahead and get started. Cecily said she would be here, so I'm just guessing she's running a little bit late, and we will go on. All right, so my day after we got off of our meeting earlier turned out to be really, really stressful after all of that. We were about hit like 3 times on the road while traveling. Like
Wow.
barely near misses. People just don't pay attention. They're so busy doing I don't know what, not driving, paying attention to anything but what they're doing. That oh my god. So I need a moment to like do some stress relief and I figure it can't hurt for everybody else. So we're gonna do just a quick brief like some breathing to help us release any anxiety or stress that we might be holding on to. So you're going to get in a comfortable position. This could be laying, sitting, standing. And get into whatever position is good that you can feel like you can take nice deep breaths in. Close your eyes if that feels better for you. And then we are going to take some nice deep breaths in through our nose, hold it and release. And we are going to do that for a count of 4 breaths. And then we will take a break and then we'll start over again. All right, so nice comfortable position, eyes closed if you want. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose for a count of 4 seconds. And hold. And release. Inhale through your nose and hold and release. Inhale through your nose and hold and release. In through your nose and hold and release. Now we're going to twist to the right, stretch out your back, hold for a count of 4, release. We're going to stretch to the left, and release back to center. And then another deep breath in through your nose. And hold. And out. In. Hold. Out. In. And hold. And out. One more. In. And hold. And out. Alrighty. Then we are going to open our eyes and bring ourselves back to the present, hopefully feeling slightly less anxious than we were to begin with. All right, so tonight I really wanted to do is pretty brief, but also a little as in-depth as I can because I try to keep these within like 45 minutes to an hour usually. I'm going to share my screen real quick. And I'm going to go over my dopamine training. Again, there's the workbook if you want to download it and go through it.
You got muted. There you are. Mhm.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Apparently they have this new thing now that when you share your screen, it automatically starts sharing your computer audio too, which makes no sense. If I wanted
weird.
that shared, I would have. Yeah.
Right.
All right. So we'll start over. We're going to go through the 5 simple ways to boost dopamine without medications. So let's get going. We are going to learn all about the signs of low dopamine, 5 simple ways to raise dopamine without medication, and some bonus content as well. This we already know. All right, so some signs of low dopamine. And I don't know about you, but all of these ring true for me. So starting and or never finishing projects or tasks, easily distracted by pretty much everything in front of you or next to you or around you or across the room from you, sabotaging behaviors where we start something and then about a week or 2 into it, we're like, oh, I can't really do this. And then we stop. Like we literally sabotage our own desires to make changes in our lives. Constantly on your phone or watching TV for that dopamine boost that you get from the quick scrolling and changing things, craving chocolate. This is typically because chocolate not only boosts your dopamine levels, but it has magnesium in it, which helps your focus. So it is kind of a double whammy for that. So if your body's craving chocolate, it could be that you are lacking dopamine or you are lacking some magnesium. Addictive behaviors. This can be addictions to anything, not necessarily like drugs or alcohol, but to your phone, to, quick releases of dopamine via, like behavioral things that get a quick reaction from people, which then boost your dopamine. Being on social media all day and doom scrolling, TikTok forever and never getting off, anything like that, where you just find yourself going back to that over and over again and feeling like you can't really stop. And then lack of motivation, because dopamine is our motivation hormone, and without it, well, we don't have much. So 5 simple ways that we can do, we can boost our dopamine without medications. These are easy. Well, not easy. They are simple ways, but easy is not always the same thing as simple, is it? So when your dopamine levels are higher, though, we are more motivated, more focused. You have like a sense of completion when you do finish things. You actually finish tasks and projects easier and more often. Your addiction issues disappear, and you find you're spending less time on your phone and TV and more time being present in your own life and not feeling like it's just passing you by and you don't remember what you did all day. So, simple way number 1 that we can start incorporating is getting a good night's rest and turning our lights off as early as possible. So, when we don't get good sleep, it actually decreases our dopamine receptors in the morning. So in the morning, our dopamine levels should increase. And then as they increase, we have enough dopamine receptors to uptake that. And then that gives us a boost of energy in the morning. It helps wake us up. It helps get us going for the day. It gets us out of bed. And it makes it easier to complete tasks and, do the stuff on our to-do list for the day. When we don't get a good night's rest, when we don't sleep well, our body goes, oh, well, I don't know why this is, it seems backwards, but we're not going to need as much dopamine in the morning because it really wants you to get more sleep, right? So it will decrease the amount of dopamine receptors that your body is producing for the next day, so that when you do finally get up and you get moving for the day, you don't uptake as much dopamine, which then makes you feel still sleepy, unmotivated, lack of focus, hard to get out of bed, and all of that fun stuff, because your dopamine levels are not as high as they need to be and you're not registering them like you should. So the best way to combat this and to get a good night's sleep is magnesium glycinate at night before bed. This is a form of magnesium that is really great for people who have low dopamine, ADHD, trouble sleeping from an overactive brain, anything like that, because it is a form of magnesium that helps calm your brain down. It slows down your heart so that it's not like racing. Some people with ADHD and low dopamine have higher heart rates naturally, which makes it harder for your body to rest at night, because normally when you get, into sleep, it drops your heart rate. If yours is not dropping correctly or as low as it needs to, it can make it hard to sleep and your body won't get adequate rest. So it helps relax your muscles, relax your brain, stop it from racing, and just really helps you sleep. And bonus, it doesn't give you diarrhea like a lot of the other forms do. So that's one good way. Another good way is making sure that your room is cool and it's as dark as possible. You have blackout curtains, you don't have any extraneous lights on, no bathroom lights, no TV running, no night lights. Turn the alarm clock away from you so it's not like shining. Put your phone across the room or in the living room so you're not tempted to get up and be on it. And none of the flashing lights that might come on during the night will disturb you. So keeping your room dark and cool is a great way to help you get a good night's rest as well, because your body needs that darkness and it needs the coolness to, again, be able to get the adequate rest that you need. And then you want to turn your lights off as early as possible. And by this, I mean like when dinner is done, you're finished that. Taking a nice evening walk after your last meal of the day is a wonderful way to really start helping to lower those dopamine levels so that you can sleep at night, but then help make sure that they're raised properly in the morning. So at night, you want your cortisol levels low and you want your dopamine levels low and you want your melatonin levels high so that you can sleep, because melatonin is the sleep hormone. One way to do this is to get out into that red light that the sun gives off as it's setting, and that helps signal to your body that, hey, bedtime is coming soon. So it automatically lowers your dopamine, lowers your cortisol, and raises your melatonin. So when you get back, the best practice then is not turn on any lights that you don't absolutely have to. And if you do have to turn on some lights, to turn on lights with red light bulbs instead. So this is a good time to break that TV addiction and turn off the TV, read a book, do something with your hands, something that doesn't require, like the blue light from your TV or your phone, the artificial blue light. For every 10 to 15 seconds of blue light that your body receives, it decreases your body's ability to make melatonin for 3 to 4 hours. So for every 10 to 15 seconds you're on that phone after your evening walk, or you're watching TV, or you turned on all the lights in the house, you are making it really hard to sleep later that night. So best success, best practice, turn on red lights after dinner and use those as the red light helps signal to your body that bedtime is coming. So simple way number 2 is to get outside in the morning sunlight. So again, just as the sun at night with all of the red light helps to signal your brain to decrease dopamine, decrease cortisol, and increase melatonin, in the morning, the sun gives off blue light, which then helps increase your dopamine, increase your cortisol levels, and decrease your melatonin. So you're not as sleepy, you're more full of energy, you have all that dopamine for that motivation. And this is typically the morning sunlight between 6 to 10 a.m. is the best time. You want to get out there, you only need to do 10 minutes. You can just stand in it for 10 minutes, you can walk in it for 10 minutes, but just getting out in that early morning sunlight without any sunglasses on, without a hat to block your eyes, just letting that sunlight hit your eyes. Obviously, don't look straight into the sun, but walking around outside in the sun without any way of filtering the blue light out can really help your body get back into that circadian rhythm, right? Okay, now it's morning, and then we take that walk at night. Okay, now it's nighttime, and really help your body start producing its own proper levels of dopamine, cortisol, and melatonin. Simple way number 3 is to get adequate protein in your diet. This helps increase tyrosine, iron, and vitamin B6, all of which you need to produce adequate amounts of dopamine in your body. So you can get these mainly through your diet is the way that it should go. So whatever you're eating, grass-fed meats, pastured pork, pastured poultry, anything like that, is eggs, are best, obviously, get the protein through your diet. If you find that you just cannot eat enough protein throughout the day, then protein powder is a great way to add some extra protein into your diet as well. I like the Garden of Life raw protein powder because it doesn't have any dairy and stuff in it that might upset your stomach. Some of the dairy ones I found are like the whey product ones tend to really cause a lot of gas and stomach upset for a lot of people. And so that one does not seem to have that issue with the majority of people that I've recommended it to who take it. So that's a good one that comes in different flavors. If you find that one's just not your jam, then obviously just find one that works for you. And iron is absolutely imperative, especially as someone who's having a period, to make sure you're getting an adequate amounts in your diet. It helps make sure that if you are having heavy periods, that it slows them down, keeps them from being so heavy, and replaces all of the iron that you are losing through having a heavy period. So that is easy to get through diet for many people. Some people have a difficult time with that, or their bodies don't absorb it as well. In that case, then supplementation again would be a good idea. And the supplement that I recommend for that is called Floradix. It is a liquid. It does not cause the constipation issues that iron pills usually cause, and it doesn't have to be taken with food necessarily, so you can take it in the morning, in the evening, before breakfast, after dinner, whatever works, but twice a day is typically a good amount. And it is absolutely a fantastic way to just increase the iron. You take like a quick shot of it, like down your throat, there you go. And it's super great. Vitamin B6, you can get that through eggs and liver. If you don't like liver, eggs it is. Or if you don't like liver and you want to get all those extra B vitamins that they have in there, that's super good for your body and that you need a hell of a lot of when you are an individual who has a menstrual cycle with a period, then desiccated liver capsules are a good way to get that as well. And you have all the benefits of the liver without any of the taste. It's perfect. All right, simple way number 4. So use other reward methods. So what I mean by this is, instead of being like, hey, I completed, this really hard task I've been dreading for months, and I'm going to spend 15 minutes on my phone. No. That will just continue that cycle of like addiction to the phone, right? So instead of that, you're going to give yourself basically like the adult version of a reward chart. So every time you complete one dreaded task and you finish it all the way, give yourself some sort of measurement, right? Like a gold star in a chart, whatever. And after you get X amount of whatever you've decided, stars, checks, hearts, whatever, then you get whatever reward it is that you have decided. So new clothes, if that's your thing, new makeup, if that's your thing, go out to coffee and get that, get some new supplies for that craft that's the new hyper focus of the month, whatever works, but something that's tangible and not just fleeting, like I get 15 minutes on my phone, right? Because that's something that is like you really want and that you wouldn't normally just go out and buy yourself without a reason. So give yourself a reason to get those things that you want, but you wouldn't normally treat yourself to by giving yourself basically the adult version of a star chart. And simple way number 5, volunteering. Volunteering, if this is something that you're able to do physically, mentally, emotionally, is a great way to really boost your dopamine, because every time you get out in your community and you get to help others and you see the results of you doing that, of you being out there and helping them, and how grateful these people are and how excited they are that you were there, or you've cleaned up a park that was previously unable to be used by the kids, like just that just really helps boost your dopamine, because it has that instant reward and gratification that our dopamine levels like. So just being able to get out there and do something that makes you feel good and boost your dopamine levels and helps others is just a win-win-win all the way around. And then some bonus simple ways. You can make a list and cross them off. And by this, I mean an already done list. I don't know about you, but making a checklist ahead of time of things that I have to do and check off just is super daunting, because now there's 17 things in front of me to do when I'm already kind of overwhelmed and I don't want to have to pick between them. So what you can do, make a list of 3 things. That's it. That's the max that you're going to make yourself a list for the day of things that you need to get done that day. These are the absolute imperative things, and literally everything else can be damned. When you complete those, check those off. And then as that motivates you to get more stuff done, everything else you do, put on the list and then cross it off. So it gives you that instant reward. Like, oh, look, I finished this and I've crossed it off and I've did this. And it also helps your brain to actually remember and hold on to what it is that you actually have done today. The thing dopamine does is that it gives you the inability to remember all of the things you've actually done during the day. So you never feel completely satisfied. You never feel like you actually finished anything or like you accomplished anything throughout the day, right? And it can be really hard to remember what you did do. So as you sit there, like, well, what did I do today? So making a list of everything you've done throughout the day is actually a perfect way to keep those dopamine levels high, because you can look at it and be like, look how much stuff I've got done. And I mean literally, like, drank coffee, put it on there, cross it off, put a load of laundry in, cross it off, ate breakfast, put it on there, cross it off. So by the end of the day, you can literally see, oh, I've actually done way more than my brain is telling me I've done. And this is why I'm so tired. Because a lot of times you get to the end of the day and you're exhausted and you're like, why am I exhausted? I've literally done nothing all day. But if you go back to your already done list, you can see that actually you did a hell of a lot, and this is why you're exhausted. And it also is just good for your dopamine levels as well. And the more often you do that, the more you train your brain to be satisfied when you do finish something, even if you don't put it on a list and check it off. Different herbs and supplements that you can use. Velvet bean, this is a herb that actually has like a dopamine protagonist kind of action to it. So it actually mimics dopamine in your body when you drink it. So it boosts your dopamine levels by your body thinking that you have more dopamine, so that it produces more dopamine, because it's like, oh, we need more dopamine. And so it makes it. So that's a really good one. And to take, it's best if you take it in like a powdered form and drink it in something, but I find it has a horrid taste, like a horrid taste. And I can't stand it. So capsules is fine in that case, or a tincture, whichever works that makes you actually take it. Magnesium glycinate, like we talked about earlier, is absolutely fantastic. I recommend taking anywhere from 400 to 1,000 milligrams, usually at night. If you find that it doesn't make you too sleepy, you can repeat a dose in the morning. So I wouldn't take more than 1,000 milligrams daily total. So you can split that if you want, do 500 at night, 500 in the morning, whatever works. But that is definitely a good way to help really with your focus and all the other stuff. And then, of course, these should never replace an organic, whole foods, nutrient-dense diet, which is your number one way of getting all of the nutrients that your body needs. You should always strive to get whatever you can through your food intake first, and then supplements are a secondary source if needed. And then eat breakfast. I know this is hard for many of us, but eating breakfast really helps balance your blood sugar and keeps crashes from happening, which then leads to low dopamine levels and then later poor choices throughout the day because you're starving. So you just grab whatever the first thing is, even if it's not what's best for your body. So eating breakfast helps with that. If you're having hormonal issues on top of that, and all that stuff, eating breakfast is imperative for that as well, because sometimes hormonal issues can lead to blood sugar regulation issues, which can then lead to a worsening of the hormonal issues, on and on in a vicious circle. So eating breakfast is an absolute imperative way to start your day. And make sure it's balanced. And by that, I mean that you have some sort of a carb, a protein, and a fat. Those typically are what you should have in every meal, but in breakfast especially, it just really helps to have an adequate amount of all of those so that you start the day off with a big boost of nutrients, and there you go. And then the hard one, decrease your caffeine intake. I know this is rough for many of us, but decreasing your caffeine intake is really imperative as well. Caffeine mimics several things in your body. Dopamine levels, cortisol, adrenaline, and as such can really kind of screw up your body actually producing adequate amounts and of those hormones and then cycling through them properly. So as hard as it is, try to keep it to like 1 cup of coffee a day, maybe 1 energy drink, 1 pop, whatever. Nothing crazy, and keep it low, low, low. And there we go. Like I said, boosting dopamine levels is simple, but it's not always easy. Fighting against our body, though, does not make it work better and just makes us frustrated. So learning to live in harmony with your body and work with it instead of against it can really help change your life and your dopamine levels. So if you need help with that, that's why you're here, and we will work through all of that fun stuff together. And then we do not have that because that was when I did this live. So you already got the free gift. Basically, it's all part of stuff. That's in the program. Oh, okay. So I know you're just getting started, so you might not have really too many questions about the program or anything, but is there, after our discussion this morning, any questions that popped up?
I did have a question on caffeine, but I think you just answered that.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's one of the, go on.
I don't really drink that much. I mean, I do, but I don't. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get it. It does. So yeah, 1 a day is probably fine, for sure. But I would try to keep it to just that and no more. If you're feeling like you need a caffeine boost later in the day, that's because you really need a dopamine boost. And so find ways to boost your dopamine. Get out in the sun is the best way because that helps all that blue light from the sun. Drink a bunch of water. Sometimes it's not dopamine that you're seeking. Your body is dehydrated and it's asking for something, and we're interpreting it as, oh, I need a coffee, or I need a Red Bull, or I need a whatever. And it's really not that. It's really like your body is just, really dry and it needs some fluid. So drink that, drink your tea instead, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, try those steps first before you reach just for the caffeine. It's just a matter of changing our patterns.
Right. Getting feedback. I hate that. Tracking water, because I want to track my water and make sure I'm getting enough. But I haven't found a good way that I will do it consistently.
In the client portal, there is there's a lifestyle, there's like a food journal, and you can track water through there. And you can do that through the app as well. Like, you can go straight to the journal in your from your dashboard, and you can record it daily that way. If that works for you, great, you can do it that way. If you're more of I need to like physically check things off because that is more like rewarding to my brain. Like me personally, I don't do well with like that electronic stuff. My brain doesn't register it as me actually doing it. Then I actually just created a water tracker for myself, which is literally just a piece of paper that I put like little like drops of water on for each day. And I put, I think, like 10 or 15 drops. And for each glass, I like color in a drop. And I have that page that I keep like in my my journal that I just fill out throughout the day as I drink water. So that's a good way. there is this water bottle that I recommend to a lot of my clients that has the markings on it, and then it also plays music like every hour, I think it is, or however you can set it up to be whatever, but like every hour to remind you to drink. And so those are nice because that you can see like a visual of I've drank this many cups, and then when you fill it back up, I'm on number 2 now, so now I've drank this many cups. So those are good ways for some people, and hopefully one of those will work for you too. If not, then we can brainstorm some other ways.
Okay.
Because that's the one thing, is it's not easy to remember like how much you've actually taken in sometimes. And like I said, if we do go with the tea for you, that also counts towards your water intake, so you can check that off as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember where I got it, but the water one, I swear I got from like some free printable site, and I just kind of modified it to fit my needs, but I can't remember where it was now.
Yeah.
But that works well for me because my body likes to really like physically write things down or physically color things in. I don't do well with like an electronic calendar or anything. I literally write everything down into a physical planner.
I'm actually taking notes in my, if I can get to the right page, planner. And
See?
it actually has the hydration thing.
Oh,
I think.
It
I didn't
does.
realize it. So, okay.
If you're already in there doing other stuff, yeah, that might be the best
Right.
thing. I find trying to keep all my stuff in one thing works the best, because if I have 7 things I got to try to remember to open and do, it's not going to happen.
Right. Yeah, I'm the
So
same.
we need to just remember that about our brains and set ourselves up for success, and instead of trying to do things the way that other people say we should do it. They're like, well, I have a habit tracker, and then I have a fitness journal, and then I have a good for you, but fuck off with that, because that doesn't work for us.
No, I like this because it has everything. I mean, it's got the day-to-day, and then
Yeah,
it's got all
I
that
like
in the
that.
bottom, and it's nice.
Which planner is that?
It's called Carly Danielle, I think is the name. It's backwards,
Okay.
or Callie
Nice.
Danielle.
Yeah, I like that kind of planner where it's like a daily kind of thing. I can't do the ones where there's like the month and then it's just like a week at a time. Mine literally has to be like just day by day.
Yeah.
It works better for the way my brain works. So
Yeah.
I like that one because it seems like it's kind of put out that same way.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I keep my monthly one on my phone. That actually works
I do
better
too.
for me. Yeah. I have it with me all the time.
Yes, then I can look at it like when I'm somewhere, but for like knowing what I need to do tomorrow, I like my daily planner.
Yeah. I'm the same.
Yeah. See, there we go. It just we gotta make whatever works for us. Make our own system.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any other questions.
Okay. Yes. I feel like there was something else I wanted to say. Back to the caffeine thing and the whole coffee thing. Coffee technically, well, not technically, it just legitimately is not a very good drink for you. Not because of the caffeine content, but because of the acid content and the fact that if you take it with pills or supplements, it like literally prevents your body from absorbing those. So it's just not a great drink that way. And it upsets the stomach balance of your pH and your high acid and all that stuff. So again, I'm not telling anybody ever to quit coffee because I know it's not easy to do, but part of what I teach in the Nutrition for Happy Healthy Hormones course, which you have, is that if you're going to drink coffee, make sure that you're drinking it with food in the morning. So don't have only coffee for breakfast, right? Because that's disrupting things. So make sure you're having like that well-balanced meal with it, because that way then too it doesn't disrupt your blood sugar, right? Because you're only drinking coffee,
Right.
and not having the other stuff. And then try to make it more what I call body kind coffee. So adding some like fats to it actually really helps kind of keep that acid lower. And so there is in the Welcome to Wellness program, I think it's like module 2, maybe, I can't remember what I put it in. There is a recipe for like body kind coffee that you can, snag and do in the mornings if coffee is your thing.
It is right now. I have 1
Which
cup
is
in the
fine.
morning.
Yeah. And like I said, 1 cup is fine. It's the people that I've talked to that are drinking like I've drank 2 whole pots a day. Oh no,
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 I've
that's
never
not
been able to
good
do
for you.
that. It actually,
No,
any more than 1 cup, it actually puts me to sleep. It's like opposite.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
That's
1
how
cup,
you can
I'm good
tell
to go.
Yeah. Everyone's like, what's the test for ADHD? If you drink caffeine, you can go to bed 10 minutes later.
Yes. Yes, I've discovered that. I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually one of the conclusive tests that they used to run. They used to give like kids caffeine, and if they were like stopped running around and like doing all of
Yeah.
the ADHD things that were really bothersome to like them and kept them from being able to focus and stuff, and then were able to go to bed like an hour later, then it was literally like, oh, okay, yeah, this kid has ADHD, and that's when they would start
That's
you on
funny. Yeah.
meds or whatever you've decided to try, right?
Right.
So because it's completely objective, it's that's funny. My all of my kids have ADHD. I have 4 of them. All of them have ADHD. And it's funny because I have ADHD myself, but I didn't realize that I did until my 3rd kid was diagnosed, because her and I are very similar. And I was like, wait a minute, I do all those things.
Right.
I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And yeah, but the older 2 are completely different, and the younger one completely, like every single one of them is like
Mhm.
completely different from the other. It's so funny how
Yeah.
different everybody is. And my youngest daughter, she likes coffee, so every once in a while I'll give her a coffee, and it's amazing. She gets all of her schoolwork and shit done when she has
Yeah.
coffee on that day. And on the other days, we struggle a bit more with staying on task,
Mhm. Yeah.
So
I mean,
it is what it is. I was
Yeah.
like, hey, there we go. Her bio dad was like, are you sure she has ADHD? Dude, I gave her caffeine and she went to bed like an hour later. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure she has.
Yeah. Right.
All right. Well, that seems like that should be everything. This will be uploaded probably early next week, so you can go back over everything if you want to.
Okay.
All right. And again, if you need anything, please reach out. I don't usually answer on the weekends unless it's an emergency, but Monday through Friday, I am pretty quick on the responses if you need anything.
Okay. Perfect.
All right. Have a good weekend.
You too. Thanks.